really grateful that you would come and be a part of what we're doing tonight. It's an exciting time for me and my family. And I'm excited about this path that we're on. It's been very challenging, physically and mentally. It never stops. And so as you think of us, I'd ask you right off the bat just to pray for us for strength and endurance as we move along, because it's going to be a long hot summer. But we're excited about it. Before I go any further, I want to introduce my family to you. I don't know where all my kids are, but my wife Nancy is over here by the wall here. Could not be around her. I have 3 children. Grace Ann is 16. She moved up here. There she is. You can raise your hand. Molly Beth is 13, almost 14. She's back there in the middle somewhere. And Jay is 12, and he's right over there. Mini me. So you might ask, why do you want to be the next superintendent? Well, I just gave you 3 really good reasons that I'd like to be the next superintendent of education: because of my children, and because I'm concerned and I want the very best for them. I want them to be prepared for what's ahead, life after high school, whatever their future may hold. I want them to be ready for it, and that's one of the challenges that we have, is meeting the needs of all of our children. But I want you to know too, I had some people last night say, what separates you apart, or why should I vote for you? And so I want to give you some talking points. I'd love for all of you to be on my team. I just want to give you some talking points tonight that you could say to people when they say, why should I vote for him? One of them is my experience. 25 years in the Southern County schools. I came here after leaving Mississippi State. I taught math for 10 years, degree in math education, taught math for 10 years. I absolutely loved doing that. Thought really that I would do that forever. Decided maybe that I would pursue administration, so I did that to get my master's at Ole Miss. I did a 1-year internship. Ended up getting an assistant principal job at Hernando High for 2 years, and then came back to Horn Lake with a staff that I had taught with. They wanted me to be their next principal, and so when Mr. Kirkendall was elected, he appointed me back to be principal at Horn Lake from 2003 to 2011. I was the principal there. I love the west side of the county, and I love the east side of the county. I'm getting to know those folks. We have very different needs, and I know what the needs are for different school zones. I have the privilege right now of serving as the Chief Academic Officer for high schools. And so I spend about half my time out in the schools and about half the time in the office. I work on programming, I work with principals, work with counselors, I evaluate principals to try to make sure that every student in every school can grow academically. We know that test scores in every school are not going to be the same. Populations are not the same. Demographics and diversity levels are different. But we know that every child can learn, and every child should have the opportunity to have the very best teacher that they possibly can. And so the challenges in some school zones are different than some of the challenges in other school zones. And so I have a unique perspective of working the last 4 years, seeing where all those needs are. So one thing that sets me apart is not only do I have 21 years of in the school building experience, but now I have 4 years behind me of being from the district level and seeing what those needs are. And I'm excited about the challenges. I don't look at them as problems, obstacles, but it's just a new challenge. And so I'm excited about the possibilities of being able to meet those needs and meet those challenges. Also, I was head basketball coach during those teaching years for 5 years, so I also coached during that time. As far as my leadership goes, I think my leadership separates me. One of the things that we saw when I got to the district office is I was real disappointed in ACT scores. We made ACT scores a priority. 3 years later, after we began to focus on that, our ACT scores in the district are higher than they've ever been before. We have a composite on the ACT of a 20, which is, you might say, that's not high enough. I would agree with you. I want it to be higher. That's every child that takes ACT, whether they're college bound or not. So our ACT scores are higher than they've ever been simply because we made it a priority. That affects me. Todd's got kids same age as mine. It affects scholarships and college fund and all that kind of stuff. And so it has to be a priority for us. We're also an AP honor roll district. AP standing for advanced placement. The reason we're an advanced placement honor roll district is because we are challenging kids, challenging students to take advanced placement courses. We were the only school district in the state last year to be an advanced placement honor roll district. And that's because we made that a priority to make sure we were challenging kids at that level. We teach more dual enrollment, dual credit classes than we ever had before. Those are classes where students, while in high school, are going also to college. We made that a priority for us. 5 of our schools are at the top accreditation level that they can be, the high schools. That's 5 A schools, 2 B schools, and a C school. You might ask, what else? So your leadership, your experience, I would tell you that my character is above reproach. I've worked really hard all of my life, but for the last 25 years as a professional educator, I know how important it is to be a role model, be an example to students, example to my teachers that work for me, be an example for those people who are under me now. I would ask you to ask anybody, you ask anybody that's played ball for me, anybody that's been in my classroom, anybody that's taught for me, I'll just challenge you to ask them. Now listen, it ain't going to be 100%, okay? There's going to be a few, because I used to tell my teachers that everybody can't work for me. Everybody's not good enough to work for me. And that's the truth. Every teacher's was not good enough to work with my students. They just couldn't produce. And so they had to move along. So if you run into one of those people, they might tell you something a little bit different, but just understand where it comes from, and you can ask them why. But I do ask you, just, is he fair? Is he honest? Is he going to be truthful with us? Is he going to be transparent? Is he going to communicate openly? Is he going to hide anything? Is he going to slide anything on the table? Absolutely not. I'm going to be the same man of character. You know, some famous person one time said, you can be educated, you can have the greatest experience in the world, and you can reach high places. But if you don't have the character to keep you there, you're not going to last very long. And we don't have to look around to find folks like that. And so I believe this is the next step God has for me in my career, to pursue this journey, and we're going to do everything we can to put our best foot forward and do the best we can and trust the Lord with the rest. But we got the character to stay there and to do a great job. Say, what are some of the main issues? Growth is critical. We got some schools that are overcrowded. We got tough decisions to make about what we're going to do about that. Common Core. You're going to hear, I've already been talking to folks tonight about Common Core, so I want you to know what my position is when it comes to Common Core. I've been a huge proponent from the very beginning when I got in this race to make sure we got rid of the testing component. I have to think about it in 3 different areas, and that's the standards that we teach toward, the instruction in which we provide toward the standards, and then the assessment. So I'll start backwards. The assessment piece, I've been a huge proponent that we had to get rid of that. And thankfully, the state has. They've decided that, you know, we're going to go a different direction. And the assessments were not good for kids. They're not good for teachers. They're not good for schools. They're not good for our community. And so that decision has been made. So hopefully what's going to replace it is going to be better. But also know, too, that those assessments that we were trying to achieve good scores on also affected our instruction and caused us as teachers and educators to make decisions that weren't necessarily good instructional practices, things that we probably just really didn't believe in, but because we were going to be tested on it, we had to do some of those things. And that's eating up time, it's taking time away from other things that we'd like to be able to do. And so from the assessment standpoint, I'm glad we've moved beyond what we currently have. Hopefully with that, the instructional piece will be allowed to change. And then the standards that we teach toward, there are flaws, there are issues, there are standards that, especially in lower grades, that are not developmentally appropriate. They're not age appropriate for students. And so hopefully those things, actually the Mississippi Department of Ed took their own initiative. The governor vetoed Senate Bill 2161, and that's fine. But the Mississippi Department of Ed decided, you know what, we're going to put these standards through a process and make them better. So they're going through that process and they're going to try to improve it. But even if we don't, I would say to you that I want to be an academic superintendent. I'm not going to be a political superintendent. I'm going to be an academic superintendent who's involved in the academic decisions that are made. It's going to rest on me, whether good or bad. But I'm going to be involved in that process. So whether we keep those standards or whether we don't, our implementation is what matters. And so we can do better with our implementation and make sure that even if the standards don't get changed or done away with, we can improve what we're doing and make it better for our students. And so I am for absolutely revising, improving, changing the standards I'm also for throwing them out and starting over if that's what the powers that be want to do. Know that I don't have the authority to do that, but I'll certainly am for that. Because, and I tell you that one of the main reasons I'm for that is because I think public schools, we've lost a lot of credibility all across America. But in Mississippi and DeSoto County, some decisions of our own, some decisions not beyond our control. And so to unify people, to unify the public in our community behind public schools, we've got to do something different. And so whatever, I know I can't be successful as a school superintendent if we're not unified and don't support. You know, there's some teachers here tonight, if they don't believe in what they're teaching, it's going to be a hard sell to those kids. It's going to be a hard sell to those parents. So our teachers have to be able to teach towards some standards that they truly believe in and believe they're right for students. And so we've got to unify people again behind our schools. Let's face it, we can have charter schools, we can have parochial schools, private school, we can homeschool. Bottom line is a vast, high percentage of students are going to be educated through public school. And so that's what I'm prepared to fight for. That's what I'm prepared to lead this district in. And so I'm excited about the possibilities. So when somebody says, why that guy? Because of his experience, because of the leadership that I've provided at Horn Lake High School in 8 great years that we had, because of the leadership that I provide now to all of our high schools, and because of my character, and because I'm on the right side of the issues. I have a unique perspective of what the issues are and how to meet those. Going to be some challenge, some tough decisions, money-wise. I want you to know that I'm very physically conservative. I'm as socially conservative as anybody you'll ever meet. But resources, managing our resources. Our teachers obviously are our greatest resource in the classroom. We know that our teachers, they alone, not alone, but they are either what makes or breaks student achievement. And so we've got to make sure our teachers are taken care of, not just financially, but I want our workplace, I want our school buildings, I want those teachers to truly love and enjoy going to school. I'm going to tell you, I had that at Horn Lake High School. We created a culture, an environment where teachers wanted to be. And this is what I like to say. At my school, administrators wanted to lead, teachers wanted to teach, and therefore the children wanted to learn. And that's what I want for all of our schools. One more thing is I like to tell this, and I really didn't realize how good it was until a few years later. But we painted a mural, and we were at Horn Lake. We painted a mural. We moved into a new school on Church Road in 2006, and we put a mural up there in the Commons, and it said 3 things. It said, yeah, see, that's good. That's good when I can't remember. It said, I got it. It said, acquire knowledge. Because that's what we were there for, to acquire knowledge. And then it said, develop character. Because I believe and I know that as school teachers, as school level people, as administrators, we can build good character in students. Even at the high school level, we can expect it, and we can enforce it. We can expect our children to be men and women of character and integrity, and then to pursue excellence. So our desire was to acquire knowledge, develop character, and pursue excellence. So we wanted to do it to the very best. We wanted our students to perform their academic work the very best that they could do. I just believe if we had 42 schools that wanted to do those 3 things, we would be tremendously successful. I've got a real vision of preparing administrators. I've got a plan to put our administrators through Administrative Academy. I've got a plan to make sure that we are supporting teachers with instructional coaches and instructional support. Anyway, I've got lots of ideas that back up what I'm telling you and backing up what we want to do in our school system. But we can take it to a new level. We can regain the unified spirit that Common Core has somewhat divided us on. And we can do a great job. So I want you to know I'm going to be compassionate and committed. I want you to know that I'm going to be conservative and responsible with our resources. I'm going to be transparent and honest in my communication. And I'm going to build strong community partnerships. So I want to talk about this just for a minute, because those strong community partnerships, when I say that, what I mean is for 20 to 25 years, as long as I've been in this business, we've been telling everybody they had to go to college. I want my 3 kids to go to college, but reality is 60 to 65% of the jobs in America can be done without a 4-year degree. They can be done with a 2 degree or less. We've got to do a better job of preparing students with skills, with industry certifications, being prepared for the workforce, being employable. Okay? They do not, to be successful, to provide for your family. You know, we got folks graduating with a 4-year degree that they can't even find a job. And so, although I would say to you, yeah, get that degree and go get the next degree, reality is for many, that's not the path they should take. And so as a school system, it's going to be a priority of mine to make sure that we're advising students, that we're advising parents, that we're providing opportunities through Career Tech and other Career Tech programs to make sure that they've got some skills so that they can do what they want to do. I like to tell this, there are 2,000 jobs on the coast for welding. They can't fill them. They can't find folks to go be a welder. We're converting one of our Career Tech programs into a pure welding program so that maybe, hopefully, those guys and girls will take hold of that idea and go pursue that and become a master welder and go provide for their family using that means. And so that's kind of the thinking that we have to be looking toward and making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. So, I am grateful you're here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you. I'll say again, I covet your prayers. I'd love just for you to join us as often as you think about us to pray for us. And on August 4th, there's going to be a vote. And you've got 3 other choices. You don't really need to know even who those people are. And I can tell you that their credentials and their vision is not the same as mine. Because of my experience, because of my proven leadership, because of my character, and because I have the right ideas. So on August 4th, I'd love for you to vote for me and allow me the privilege to lead this school district. Thank you.